Okay, here we are. What's going on here? So, let me just put the names up there while I got the titles up there. As everybody might know, Iain Anderson, coming all the way. What city are you in, Iain?
I'm in Brisbane, the warm, less big one on the East Coast.
Okay. And Chris Hawking, of course, from Late Night Films. Is that what it is? Late Night?
Yep, that's the one.
That's the one. That's what I thought. And what city are you in, Chris, over there in Australia?
I'm down the bottom. I'm in Melbourne, Victoria.
Melbourne. So I love so many Australian TV shows. I just absolutely love them. Right now we're just finishing up City Homicide. You guys ever watch that back? I guess it's about 10 years old, 12 years old. It's really excellent. 5 stars on Amazon Prime. 5 stars. It's really a great detective. A lot of great actors that I never saw before, of course, and great storylines. So, but there's a whole bunch of other ones we watch as well. It seems like if we watch BritBox TV a lot, and then there's a lot of stuff from Australia. You guys have a quite a I don't know if it's still there. This was, like I said, about 10 years ago.
They still make TV here. There's
no, I mean TV shows.
Stuff. There's a fun show called Deadlock. It should be on Amazon Prime, I think. That's made by some very funny women. Check that out if you haven't.
We got our first comment here. We'll put those up at the bottom since we have good morning from the Netherlands. Absolutely. Mr. Triumph ST. Is that a Triumph car? Is that what that is? I don't even know. Could be multiple things. So you guys are been busy. I see Chris put up a post yesterday that said, I'm too busy, and has all these icons and a lot of blank ones, but he has names on them, some kind of a keyframe thing and whatever. But there's one main one that's coming out. Is it out today or tomorrow?
It is probably out by the time most people see this. It's Thursday night as we're recording this here in Australia, and I think it's going live tomorrow. Chris, do you have the time? Do you know what time it's going live?
No, I don't actually know what. Yeah, I don't know what time zone it is, to be honest. I know it's going live on Friday, but I don't know if that's Australian time or American time. I'm not sure.
So can you control the time it's released? Do you have like a checkbox that says put it out at this time?
You can put in a date.
Okay.
But yeah, I've never actually done a pre-sale before on the Mac App Store. I'm madly having a look now to see if I can work out what we actually did.
Well,
you can pre-sell.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess it might come out in 4 hours, or it might be 24 hours. Who can say?
Okay. So it's like Final Cut Pro when it's updated. People go, oh, it's not out there. I say, yeah, it's there. Just keep searching. Keep on refreshing the page or whatever.
Yeah.
So one question about
press this big blue button.
It says go live.
Let me. It says release this version. But I'm not. I'm not sure when the pre-release is supposed to come out. Manage pre-order. Yeah, it just says February 2026.
Okay.
But yes, you can pre-order it now, and it will come out at some point in the next day.
So when you get something in the App Store, it's one process. What is the process to get something put in Final Cut Pro as an extension? That's a separate process, right? Both of them have to have separate approvals?
No, same process. Yeah, workflow extensions just go through the regular Mac App Store review and approval system.
Oh, it doesn't go through the Final Cut Pro team at all?
No, they have no say.
That seems strange to me that they don't have any say on the extensions.
Yeah, I guess that's just the way. Yeah, I guess there's so many extensions. Like extensions are sort of a system-wide thing. Across the whole platform, you can have Mail extensions, Safari extensions, Finder extensions.
Oh, I see.
Extensions,
I see.
Audio units, FX plug, workflow extensions. So yeah, it's all part of the same sort of extension system.
Mr. Triumph says, Richard, at what time are you in the middle of the night? No, it's 5 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast. These guys are the nighttime guys. These guys are nighttime, and 2 different time zones. So I find it impossible to get accurate times for Australia because you guys got 5 different time zones. I mean, we have 3, but it's kind of divided up into the left part of the United States, the middle part, and the right part. You know, Eastern, middle, whatever the heck the middle one is, and then the Pacific time code. But you guys are like different states. They're not states, are they?
Yeah. Yes,
they are?
different states. Yeah, my state doesn't believe in daylight saving. Mostly because most of the people live quite south, and we kind of like it because we're near New South Wales that does have it, which gets very confusing for half the year. But if the further north you go, the more annoying daylight saving would be. So, because the difference between summer and winter is not that much. And so, yeah, it ends up being a bit different. And then you got South Australia, which is half an hour off. And there's actually a tiny little 3/4 of an hour off time zone, which is on the way to Perth, which is another time zone. So yeah, it's pretty silly.
It's a lot of, yeah. It's difficult for me to figure out. That's why I just give you my time and you guys let me know what time it is for you. So,
yeah.
See how that fancy things are going on when I switch around. That's all Ecamm Live. It's pretty amazing. I can do that one. I can do Chris over there. I can do me over there, and I can do 3 of us. I can do solo, and there's some kind of animation thing. I don't know what the heck they added. It's an incredible team of brothers from up northeast. I think New Hampshire or somewhere, and they're supposed to be twins, but they don't look like twins. I guess they were born at the same time, but they're not identical twins. They've done some incredible stuff. The Ecamm Live is absolutely great. So let's talk about your what is it called? Let's let people know.
It is called ScriptStar. And that name is based on what it does. So in Final Cut Pro, we've long had a thing called favorites, which have a little star for an icon. We now also have transcripts. And so you mash those 2 names together, and ScriptStar is the shortest, most memorable thing that popped out. So that's what it does.
That's what it does. It makes makes favorites.
Well, yeah. It makes named favorites, but look, the headline is, if you want the one-line summary, is it enables text-based editing in Final Cut Pro. It's the feature which Apple, I wish they had added, but they didn't, so we've added it. And it's very useful. I think a lot of people are going to really like it. If you deal with any kind of, especially unscripted stuff where you want to see what people have said, and if you've got clients saying, oh, can you use this line? You don't have to scrub through and listen for it anymore. You don't even have to know that the line exists. You can just see all the dialogue right there.
Wait a minute. Can you export a PDF of the transcript? Something that Apple did not include?
Yes, you can, because that's another part of the process.
Because that's how you really do text-based editing, is you got to look through the transcript. Does it have timestamps?
Yep. Yes.
Why? Tell me something. Why didn't Apple do that? Not that you know, but I mean, as developers. No. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, nobody knows why.
What do I think? Why they didn't do it? I have no idea. There's lots of things I don't understand.
Well, I mean, but that's so obvious that transcript search is like a baby step, right? But at least let us export whatever information that they're gathering, right? Doesn't that make sense? I mean, you guys did it, right?
Well, I mean, to be fair, like it was mostly Iain. Like, like I've been collaborating with a lot of people, Sam and Knut in Germany, and a bunch of people. Like with the advent of LLMs and codecs and Claude Code and all this stuff, every filmmaking nerd and editor nerd in the world is now playing with this stuff, and they can get like 90% there by themselves. And then in terms of actually releasing on the App Store and doing all that kind of stuff, that's the stuff that I've been doing for years now. So
Right.
I'm really good at the nuts and bolts stuff, which isn't even the coding stuff. It's managing Xcode and managing the App Store Connect and all the sort of nuts and bolts machinery behind it. But the actual like ideas and stuff, it coming from people like Iain and Knut and Sam and all the people that email me every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Chris is being too modest. There's definite tech and know-how which is involved on Chris's side, and very helpful libraries which manage the XML stuff, which otherwise I think the LLMs would struggle with, and we'd have little weird bugs that we'd never track down. So yeah, look, if you're a tech nerd who knows how code should work and you can express what you want really clearly and repeatedly find bugs and fix them successfully, then yeah, you might be able to make some interesting stuff. And we do have more interesting stuff coming out hopefully soon after Script Start. But for the moment, let's just talk about Script Start, because I think it solves a problem I have had for some time, and I'm pretty pleased to be able to release this. It's going to be really cool, I think.
Absolutely. And I wonder if it's on the App Store yet. Do you think it's on the App Store yet?
Yeah. So you can pre-order it.
Okay, I'm going
to... You can't buy... Oh, you can buy it, but you can't download it until either press the button or the system releases it.
So what's the name again? Yeah. Star something?
Script Star.
ScriptStar, one word?
Yep.
There it is. Fantastic. I'm going to...
Exciting. It's got a very nice icon, like all of Chris's apps.
I know Chris likes the icon maker for him. I'm going to pull this up.
Yeah, Matthew is a genius.
Here we go. So there it is. Look at that. And $10. That's like a couple cups of coffee, right? That's a great price.
Yes.
Is that the intro price?
That's the price. And I mean, Chris, I'm sure you can recommend this to people who want to keep using Command Post.
Yeah, so sometime last week or whenever it was, I sort of changed the Command Post model where to use Command Post, you need to own at least one late night app. And the reason for that is I've been trying to work out ways to monetize Command Post for years. And I really wanted to get it onto the Mac App Store. And I tried lots of different ways to get it on the Mac App Store. But and technically I could get it there, but the amount of work that would be involved to get it on the App Store and have that risk of Apple not accepting it was just too painful. So as my compromise, the paywall to get Command Post is you need to own at least one of Late Night's apps, and that could just be one of the $10 ones.
So this one qualifies.
It does, yes. I do need to push out a new Command Post release to enable that, but yes, any Late Night app on the Mac App Store will enable Command Post to run.
As you both well know, we got a new version of Final Cut Pro, which was, I was expecting 12 to come out later in the year. But they announced it 2 weeks. Once again, they announced it ahead of time. Sometimes Apple does that. They pre-announce a version of Final Cut Pro. They've done it at 2 Creator Summits. They've done it in press releases before. They did it again, and I was actually surprised. I mean, January the 28th for Final Cut Pro 12 is just an odd time to release a major version of Final Cut Pro. They don't normally do it in January, especially at the end of January. And then we got...
I'm sure it's just the subscription is bigger than Final Cut Pro, so they've got to tie in with the greater Apple plans, I guess.
But even with that, usually they do announcements September, October, and they do announcements in March. January is an odd time for whatever reason. Of course, we don't know, that Apple decided that we're going to put it out in January. But the idea that Final Cut Pro 12 came out at this, we just 11 came out November, of 2024, 11.1 March of 2025, and 11.2 in September of 2025. And now we're already at 12. The numbers don't mean anything anymore. In the old days,
I think the numbers ever meant anything.
Well, but
the numbers have always been weird.
Well, but up to 11, was it 10.4.11, which they released, I think it was 11, 10.4.11. That was 11 updates to 10.4. 11 separate updates to Final Cut Pro 10.4. When they hit 10.5, they don't have anything like that anymore. They just switch on 10.5, 10.11, 10.12, 12 whenever they want to. It doesn't have any bearing on you only had 2 updates, and then we're at 12 already. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just the naming is odd to me compared to the prior to 10.5. They always had up to 0.9 or 0.10 or 0.11. This had 0.2, and it wasn't. Neither one of them are that big. I mean, 11.2 was just for ProRes RAW on the iPhone 17 Pro, right? Wasn't much else in it. Well, I mean, I'm glad because I got a 17 Pro Max. I'm really glad.
Yeah, it's strange they didn't go to a yearly. Oh, sorry, Ian. Like, yeah, if the OS is all going to yearly, then they should have just, like, it should have been Final Cut Pro 26.0.0, and they should have kept the major, minor, and bug fix versioning as everything else.
Well, I suspect they maybe don't want to be tied to simply a yearly update schedule. And I think also the reason why the 10 names stuck around for so long and were a bit weird was because it was called Final Cut 10. And so they wanted to make sure they had enough leeway while the name was going to remain Final Cut Pro 10. As soon as they decided to lose the X, they were then free to go 11, 12, and whatever else they want. So it's fine. It's all good. More updates, please.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, they really don't mean anything. Final Cut 12 doesn't mean anything versus Final Cut 11.2 versus 11.1. I mean, it does because it had 3 major features: a transcript search, visual search, which I like the visual search if that becomes reliable. And there was one other thing. Oh, the
beat detection.
Beat detection, which has been in Logic Pro for years. Except in Logic Pro, you can adjust the beat detections left and right. Final Cut Pro, they're just stuck. And there's no way to adjust them yet. So, what do you guys think about Creator Studio? Have you updated, Chris?
Yeah. So I've been, since it's come out, I've been nonstop. I've been editing it every day for long hours. I'm using the lifetime perpetual version. It's pretty rock solid. There's like a few annoying regressions bugs that I'm annoyed about, but I've used it on some crazy fast turnaround, high pressure jobs, and it hasn't missed a beat. There's been a few scary warnings come through where your project is corrupted, that sort of thing, but it hasn't actually done
What is that? I get that every time I update a library from 11, the library works fine in 11, but you get that warning. What have you looked into seeing what that is? What's causing that?
Well, the only time I've got the warning is when I've had to force quit Final Cut Pro, and this is new in Final Cut 12. It freaks out and gives you that warning at the start. But so far, I haven't actually had a corrupt library, which is very handy. But yeah, so far It's been awesome. And I mean, the beat detection I just love. Like, that is my favorite feature in a long time. Mm-hmm. A lot of the stuff I do, especially fast turnaround edits, is all music driven. And I'm used to just religiously putting down manual music markers. I've tried to use like Beatmark X and all those sort of tools, and it gets it close, but it's still, some of the beats just don't land where I think they should. Whereas the beat detection in Final Cut Pro, I think, is pretty much spot on. It works the same way my brain works. And I've checked some old projects and my markers line up perfectly to their markers.
Well, that's,
and generally, Yeah, generally I color code. So, for example, on like the major beats, I'll put a red marker, and that is lining up to the solid lines in the beat, um, in the new beat detection sort of thing. So yeah, I think Apple has built something that literally works the same way as my brain.
Well, that's good. That's always a benefit. So, what do you think about the Creator Studio subscription model? Not for all 9 apps, just for Final Cut Pro and, well, in my case, Logic Pro. I haven't updated Logic Pro. Too many horror stories on Logic Pro 12. I mean, just eliminating things that you've had for years, channel strip settings that they're just gone. You have to go back to your version 11, which of course you should always back up before you update. I did, but I haven't updated to Logic 12 yet. I have updated to Final Cut Pro 12, standalone. I had an issue with the Creator Studio version.
Well, I think this is probably the best possible outcome, because a lot of people don't want subscriptions, especially if you've already bought the software. Your worst nightmare is buying an outright license and then being told a few years later they're actually going to kill your license, and now you have to pay a subscription every month. And essentially, there's a lot of people online upset about Adobe's subscription because that keeps on going up. And so people were quite afraid that Apple would be doing the same thing. But the fact that the subscription is optional is terrific. So people who don't have the software and don't want to outlay $300 straight away to get the software no longer have to. They can pay a much, much, much smaller amount of money, especially if you're a student. It's nothing. And that's excellent as a starting point. And the fact that you get all of the apps means you've got Pixelmator Pro, and for a lot of casual people doing video with a little bit of photo work, you need a thumbnail, you need the occasional ad for social media or whatever. Pixelmator Pro is amazing for that. It's also excellent for tying into motion. It has been for years. It's really, really good. I'm glad more people will have motion. They might grow to like motion once eventually. It's really nice. And look, the stuff in Keynote and Pages and Numbers will be helpful to some people. It's probably not for everyone. The AI stuff, I think, is useful there, but I suspect all of these things in which you have dedicated AI help in a particular app are going to be superseded by some kind of bot controlling your whole computer and doing whatever you ask it to do. That kind of stuff is where the real change is coming, and it's coming pretty soon. Not immediately, but AI at the moment is doing interesting things for coding and for making scripts and for making simpler apps. It's so much better than it was a few months ago. It's no longer just vibe coding. It's an actual pathway to making decent apps so much more quickly than you could have done by hand. The stuff that I've been doing recently, where literally I can spend an hour asking for something and then telling it what it got wrong 10 times in a row, and suddenly I'm at a stage that would have taken a month of talking to a professional programmer and doing a ton of research and crossing fingers. And some of this stuff is really hard and really obscure, and you cannot find these people. We are going to see some really interesting new software, and we're going to be making a bit of it. So yay. So yeah, look at the Creator Studio is a good deal.
What do you think, Chris?
The fact that
Go ahead, Iain.
The fact that we're not being annoyed as existing owners. We don't have to buy that subscription, but we can. That's excellent. We're not being forced to subscribe. We don't have to subscribe, but new users can subscribe. I really do appreciate that, and that's the best feature about the whole thing.
And Chris, what do you think about the Creator Studio versus the standalone? Just the whole idea, the general idea.
I don't really have much thoughts on the general idea. I have been trying to jump between the perpetual version and the subscription version, and the subscription version is way more buggy. I've had it crash several times, which the standalone version doesn't do. And I think it's mostly related to, this is a completely new world for Apple. They've never done this subscription, in-app purchasing, having one giant what do you call it, app bundle that you buy on the App Store,
Right.
which downloads a whole bunch of self-contained apps that all have to magically link and share licensings. Like, I think this is completely new for not just the Final Cut team, but for Apple in general. They've never done this before, so I'm sure there's heaps of teething problems they need to solve, and Logic's already come out with updates fixing various bugs, which I'm sure are related to the licensing sort of stuff as well. It doesn't really, I guess it's interesting that if you've got Final Cut Pro on the iPad, and you weren't paying attention, you could potentially be charged for both at the same time. And because you can keep your Final Cut Pro subscription, but it only keeps working for Final Cut Pro. But it doesn't auto magically upgrade to the Creative Studio sort of stuff. So you got to be a bit careful with that. And so we're sort of now forced into subscription if you want to use Final Cut Pro on iPad, which we were always forced into it. But now we're sort of forced into buying Creative Studio. You can't buy Final Cut Pro on iPad by itself.
Yeah, I never bought that.
Yeah, I think that's probably the one downside. If people were really heavy users of Final Cut Pro for iPad and they didn't want anything else, they're the group who, if they had temporarily stopped Final Cut Pro for iPad subscription and planned to do it again, now they are going to have to pay a little more money. They do get a lot more for that, but yeah, that's probably the only flaw, the only group of people who are maybe going to be a little bit annoyed, which is unfortunate.
So I agree 100% with you, Iain, that this is the best way for Apple to do this. And I said this many times, if you're going to do subscription, don't get rid of the standalone version, which they did so far. It seems weird, though, that they have these titles and generators that they're holding back from the standalone version because they're not even premium.
I don't even know. Iain, do you know, are they? Because I haven't had time to really dig deep into this, but as far as I can tell, there's no difference. But maybe that's because I have the subscription version and the effects appear in the perpetual version. Do you know the answer to that?
I've got the subscription version. I did look at the titles that are available in the subscription only, but I can't remember which ones they are.
Well, they're marked. They're marked in the browser now.
Yeah.
Which is
great. I'm
great.
looking at Final Cut right now, and I can't see the marks. So, that's curious.
That was a good thing Apple did.
Version.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Because I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. And again, I haven't dug too deep into it, but I couldn't work out what is what motion templates exist in the subscription that don't exist in the perpetual lifetime version.
Yeah, maybe this is one of those few bugs. Like I have been running the subscription version. I'm in it now, and I can't see the new subscription titles right at this second. So, maybe there's something interesting about that. We'll see.
Yeah, it just seems so. This is their strategy. They're going to keep on giving the subscription things that we might want in a standalone to the. But as long as it's not features, if it's just titles and generators and effects, which it is right now, and bugs, we get more bugs in the subscription version versus the standalone version, which is what I suspected from the beginning. As long as they keep the feature parity, and so far they've done that, but don't start dribbling out, we're not giving you this feature now. We're not going to give this to the standalone version, because that would be very aggravating. Now, here's the other thing. I did the math, and 15 years of Creator Studio is almost $2,000 versus $299. There's a huge cost difference. This is just for Final Cut Pro. Now, I would never object to paying an upgrade fee to Final Cut Pro over 15 years. Even if you did $100 every 5 years, hey, warn us in advance. It's going to be $99 for the upgrade. Completely fine with that. Completely fine with that. And the $12.99 for the Creator Studio is completely reasonable, especially if you do it by the year. It's only in America, it's only $10.75 a month, which equates to like 33 cents a day. So the cost is very reasonable, just like Final Cut for the iPad was, right? But
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, we've had to cut back a lot in recent years, but like a few years ago, we were paying like $10,000 a year, $10,000 a year just in software licenses for all the various things that we have. So yeah, that's just sort of the cost of doing business. Like, we've got, I don't know, motion VFX stuff, like stock music, stock effects, all that sort of stuff, and a lot of specialist tools that are subscription. And yeah, it adds up once you have multiple people working on edits and that sort of thing. So yeah, I don't think the cost of Final Cut Pro is that much of an issue.
No, exactly. It's not much of an issue. It seems to me that they're really aiming the Creator Studio at influencers, YouTubers, college students. They're not really aiming it at high-end professional level. For example, the Creator Studio is not going to get this suite into Hollywood editing suites. It's not going to do it. It just, even the icons and stuff are just aimed towards a younger generation, perhaps, or not somebody who's doing a major Hollywood film. What do you guys think?
Even Apple internally doesn't use Final Cut Pro for a lot of their stuff. And I think, like, the great example is the people that attended the Apple Creator Studio launch. Like, they're people like, I mean, I spend, like you, Richard, I spend my whole life in this world of Final Cut Pro users and pro video editors, that sort of thing. And I don't think I knew any of the, I know a lot of people now, but I didn't know any of the influencers that were invited to the Apple Creator launch event. That's perfect. Cool now, because I now follow a whole lot of new people from very diverse backgrounds and doing really awesome stuff. But yeah, they're not in a world that I have ever interacted with.
Right. Nor have they been at the Final Cut Pro Creator Summit.
No, and people like iJustine and Tyler and all the people that are big celebrities, for lack of a better word, in that Final Cut Pro world, none of them were invited to the Creator Studio launch. It was very much targeted to a very different audience than what we traditionally play in.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I'm saying. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, when we've talked to the Final Cut Pro Apps team at the at the creative summits over the years, people have asked them what the target for Final Cut Pro was. Was it ever Hollywood? And they've consistently said, we have multiple targets, and Hollywood's not at the top. Never has been. So the middle area, which is where this, I think, is targeted, is very appropriate. And I don't really mind that. It's just an observation that even the icons, I'm not a big fan of the icons. I don't think Chris is either. They're not, I mean, if you look at the two, let me pull these up here. The two, let me pull these up. Here we go. Look at these two icons. Which one looks more professional? One looks like, like a grade school, and it was drawn by somebody in grade school. And one looks like more traditional. I mean, to me, but that's what they're targeting, it seems like. What do you think, Iain? You don't think they're targeting? I'm
not down on the icons, and I think if you were going to be, I don't really mind. I do think they grow on you once you've got a few of them in your dock. I think they work together. I think they're okay. I really don't mind. I do care a lot about a lot of user interface things, but I really don't care enough about these icons. Maybe I should, but I think, if you wouldn't target Hollywood. The only reason to target Hollywood is for the halo effect you get from, hey, this feature film I love was cut in Final Cut Pro. But there's so few editors who work in Hollywood, and Hollywood itself is struggling. The vast majority are cut on Avid Media Composer. They're always going to be cut on Avid Media Composer. If they want to challenge a pro market, they'd have to challenge the Premiere market. And maybe they will, but I guess they feel they don't need to. They would rather just keep making an app which makes a lot of average users happy. If you're talking number of users, I think Final Cut is still going to be doing well, and it's certainly seems to have much more mindset since the Creator Studio launch. There's a lot more people talking about it. There's a lot more people saying, hey, I'm switching to this. And I think actually Final Cut 12, the naming, is part of that, because it gets much more attention to say, hey, there's a new Final Cut Pro 13. Eventually, they'll say, whenever that version comes out.
That's just later this year. That's later this year.
It's much easier to explain, hey, there's a new version of Final Cut version 12 than, hey, there's a new version of Final Cut 10, version 7 point whatever. Like that,
right.
People don't necessarily pay attention to that, but if it's part of the name of the product, then they will. And so, yeah, I think it's important.
So the features that we got in 12, the three main features are cool features. I mean, I like all three of them. The text-based at the transcript search seems to be the least they could do. They didn't step that up. And it seems, here's the thing. When they brought us captions in November of 2024, they haven't revisited them in 16 months, 17 months. They've done nothing with the very rudimentary captions that they gave us. I mean, Intelligent Assistance and Brett FX came out with there are two plugins that can do stuff with it. But I mean, are they going to just do these features and abandon them? So, in other words, transcript search, that's all you're going to get. You're not going to get anything beyond that. Well, it's good for you guys. I mean, because you got your plugin, but.
Yeah. I mean, I've obviously now got. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, one of the jobs I was doing last week was a really fast turnaround, high pace, big, important celebrity client sort of job. And it would be perfect for like this sort of thing where you can search for like when you've got a client over your shoulder going, I want the line where the person says blah, 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 blah. And then you type it in. But if you can't see the text, it's kind of irrelevant because then you have to listen to all the shit anyway. Like it doesn't make any sense having speech search if you can't see what the words are. Like it makes it completely useless. And the
that's what I'm saying.
Whilst awesome, it is also like it's good if you type dog and it shows you all your dog footage. But in what world is that ever going to, like the only time you need visual search is like, for example, last week where I've got a client going, I need the person who's wearing a red hat and he had blue shoes, find it straight away. In Final Cut Pro, it can't do that. It's like gave me a car. Like I was like, it's thing and completely useless. Jumper can do, that's really good at the visual search stuff. And I just don't understand. Jumper's using open source models. It's using all stuff that Apple should be able to completely kill in that space. And yet they gave us something that sort of is really half-baked.
Does visual search just use like one criteria, like red shoes, or can it do two, red shoes and a blue hat? Can it do both?
Red shoes and a blue hat. I don't know. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it's based on like the model seems to be based on the type of words. Like you can say, was it you that was telling me, Iain, like an example of like clapperboard versus slate? Like it can get slate, but it can get clapperboard.
It's interesting. Look, I've actually spent the afternoon testing a heap of those solutions for an article which I'm writing at the moment for Pro Video Coalition. And so I've been testing Final Cut Pro's visual search, Premiere's media intelligence, Jumper, and Peak 2. And obviously, Chris does work for Jumper, but I have no financial incentive to say that Jumper is probably the best solution. And obviously, the article is going to go into more detail on that. But there are only a couple of words or phrases that I tested, and I tested about 50, where Final Cut found something which Jumper didn't. And generally, Jumper found more things more quickly. There's two problems with the visual search that you have to be aware of. There's, did it find a useful shot? And did it find all the shots which it should have found? Those are two really separate things. All of these solutions are going to give you false positives. So you're going to search and it's going to come back with a few which are correct and a bunch which aren't. And some of the solutions do more of that and some don't. You can kind of work past that. But one interesting thing was if you search for a dolly track, Final Cut Pro found a dolly track and the others couldn't find a dolly track. And on the flip side, Final Cut Pro couldn't find blood and Jumper could find blood. So there's definitely swings and roundabouts on both sides. And you can sometimes find more specific things. So, for example, I searched for snow and found a shot which I recorded when I was in the UK recently, which had snow in it. Right. And there were other shots. There was a drone shot with snow on the side of the road, and both of the solutions had found that as well. And in both of the solutions, you could say snow by empty road, and it would find that shot first or that shot only in Final Cut. So you can narrow it down at least a little bit by adding more search terms, which is apparently something which photos on the iPhone didn't do very well. So yeah, it's a step up above that. It depends how much of a serious solution you want and how quickly you want to find things. I'm really glad it's there. I don't think it's useless. I think it's definitely got uses, especially in B-roll. People have got big B-roll collections. It's going to be awesome for a client to be able to say, oh, we want something techie, and you just type in tech, and you see all of the sci-fi related B-roll just being there. That's helpful. That's what it's for. Other times you might want to search for something that's just a color. And unfortunately, the Final Cut visual search doesn't do color. Jumper does. So if you want, we really need a blue shot. Yeah, Jumper will give you 50 blue shots. And Final Cut doesn't respond to colors at all. So there's definite swings and roundabouts. Obviously, the fact that it's integrated in Final Cut makes a big difference. The fact you can build smart collections and you are just right there. Jumper is not far behind that. It's in a workflow extension, which Chris was involved in making, and it works very well. And you search something and you can click it and it finds it in Final Cut. So it's really very close. But the built-in thing is always going to get more attention because people just have it already. And so, yeah, look, it's better than nothing. I think there are more capable solutions for those who want to find more stuff and want to get more out of it. But article coming next week.
That's a perfect descriptor. It's better than nothing. So are we satisfied with better than nothing for Final Cut Pro? I'm not. I mean, the idea that the captions, like I said, in November 2024, they threw these captions at us. They're very rudimentary, and they haven't touched them in 16, 18 months. They haven't improved them. Yeah. So is it going to be the same thing with transcript search? Oh, this is all you're going to get. I hope not. So better than nothing is not.
I don't mean better than nothing to be a mean thing. I think it's certainly a good feature to have, and it's nice that there are further options for those who want to take it further. And with transcripts, I'm obviously of two minds. If they don't want to upgrade it, I will happily keep on recommending ScriptStar. But I am fully expecting that Final Cut 13 will make this redundant, but it's so needed. It is so needed, and I can't believe it wasn't in the release.
No, absolutely.
So that's why we made it happen.
It's better than nothing. That's what I keep going back. Go ahead.
A good example of, so for one of the fast turnaround jobs I was doing last week, it was just me and another editor, so we only had 2 Macs, and we were both under the pump working our butts off. Final Cut Pro, and he was on Resolve, I was on Final Cut. Final Cut Pro, I basically ticked everything in the import window. So it was analyzing color, it was doing the visual search, it was doing the English transcription, everything. And it does it really well. It didn't affect my editing, analyzed everything. It works great. Jumper on the other machine, which was a much better machine than I have, because Jumper uses every bit of system resource possible, it's unusable to edit while Jumper is analyzing because it will just grind. Like, this guy had an M4 MacBook Pro, fully spec'd out, best laptop you could buy, and he'd never heard the fans before. I was like, oh, you'll hear the fans once we put Jumper on. And like, he was shocked that like you open activity monitor, GPUs at max, CPUs at max, memories going up. but he couldn't edit with it. So we couldn't actually use Jumper for the fast turnaround thing simply because it uses every system resource that it made. You need a dedicated Jumper machine to do it. Whereas on the flip side, Final Cut Pro could analyze everything while I'm editing, and it's not an issue. It's just not like maybe there was one or two times where it helped me out, but I just think the audio search didn't really do a good job, and it's quicker just to just analyze just the audio in Jumper if you need to find things. And for those sort of jobs, I already have it sort of organized because I've got camera cards coming in, so I know like roughly which camera it was on. So it's organized by event already and that sort of thing. So I already have some layer of filtering just by how I'm data wrangling. So like searching for, I don't know, blue tie or whatever. Yeah, it's sort of, it's really not that helpful unless it's accurate.
Would you like a demo, Richard, of how we have filled in the gaps?
Let me pull that demo screen up. Where is that? Here we go. Iain demo, I called it. How about that? Here we go.
Excellent. Okay. So welcome to Final Cut Pro. I'll show you what it does before I show you how it does it. So this is ScriptStar, and what you're looking for is, let's just take something really simple. You might start life with this video, which is just a very simple video that I made. Now, it has been analyzed. So at some point in the past, it probably happened on import, I did analyze and fix, and I did transcribe in English, and this happened. So that means I can search through this if I know what I said. So if I said take, then I can find that I said take. But I have to play it back to hear what I said. I can't actually know what I said. So what we've done is we've converted, using ScriptStar, we've converted this event into this event. And now I'll just move everything over. Sorry for the bright HDR stuff here. You can see exactly what the transcription said. And each of these is a named favorite. So it's not a keyword. They don't show up over here as keywords and litter your event with every single line being different. Each one of these is a named range. So when you click on one of these phrases, it selects exactly that phrase, and then you can play it back with slash. There's a keyboard shortcut most people don't know, but slash is playback selection. And the accuracy is pretty good, but it's down to the nature of how accurate the transcriptions are. And so I think I find that sometimes it will trim off the very end of a word. But that's fine. This is intended for rough cutting, so it works really well. And you can see here exactly what was said. And this is what got detected. Now, I've got some other examples of stuff that was done here. So I've got some multicams from stuff that I shot at the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. So here's a multicam of Steve Martin, and I shot both of these multicam. I shot one on my iPhone in 3D and one on my regular camera. The regular camera has the better audio, so that's where the transcript was made. And so the version of this, which has the transcripts attached, is the same stuff, except you can see what everybody said. And there we go. So here's Steve Martin. That's him saying, so this is my 7th trip. Then we pause, do it again. So this is my 7th trip to the Final Cut Pro. And you'll see sometimes the transcript makes a mistake. The Final Cut Pro Summit, that's fine.
Yeah, but
it's amazing to see these Final Cut Pro users.
Let me stop you 1 second here. I got a question. Yeah. Did you put the stars next to those events that are already analyzed?
These are favorites. So favorites, a lot of people don't use favorites, but you've always been able to mark in, out, and press F to mark a favorite. And typically it's just called favorite, but there's always been the feature that you can rename those favorites. So we are renaming the favorites to the line of dialogue that is heard while that favorite region is active.
I'm talking about the stars in the browser.
Yeah,
Is
the
that
stars mean
automatically
favorites. That's all it means.
No, you
Yeah.
mean
But
the
it did-
event names. Yes.
the event
You mean
name?
like
You did,
Oh, the
multi-cam
event
star.
names.
did you do that
Sorry, the
automatically,
event
or is
names.
that by manual? Is that manual?
We do that. ScriptStar does that.
Excellent. That's
one of the
great.
great pressures Chris added. Yes.
That's great. Now here's another question while you're going here. It looks to me like is it one? Can you drop those favorites individually into the timeline? Because it sometimes looks like it's just one continuous favorite across the.
Yep. So here we go. I'll just make a timeline. And so if I was to, so this is my 7th. So I'll just tap E on that. It's listed
Right.
as best
Okay.
experience.
Okay. Cool.
Yep. And
Yeah.
you just, all of those have just landed. Now, again, of course, it's a rough cut, but
Yes.
where are we? There we go. That is those things. And I can just use the built-in timeline caption because this is a silent share, but you can see it's going to be doing the same things. So it's amazing to see all these Final Cut Pro. And, obviously the caption is not connected. It may be slightly different, but it is the same audio. Now, this feature is really very useful, and we're really pleased about getting the multicam working as well. But one thing we found is in the process of making this is that there are actually some bugs in the transcript. So if you do what I do, and this is a game developer. His name's Martin Binfield. He's a game developer here in Brisbane that I interviewed for a job last year. If I look at the audio for this, it says it's stereo. It's not. It's dual mono. So I actually record this on these Rode Wireless Go 2 microphones.
Right.
They're the left and right channels. Turns out what's happening behind the scenes for Final Cut is it's only transcribing the left channel 1. And so if he's speaking on channel 2, your transcript is going to be pretty bad. And that's what happens with this clip here. And so I can show you how we address this. Basically, we allow people to bring in their own transcript. So this is our much better transcript, where we've actually got what he said rather than the very poor version that we got. So if you've got any kind of transcription service or system already, like I use Mac Whisper, if it can make an SRT, then you can bring that in and use that as the thing which gets turned into the named favorites. So you just have to match the clip name or the file name with .srt in the name, and you're done. And so it will use that for priority so that you can fix its problems. And one of the other things, which I'm not sure why this hasn't been addressed, but you can only transcribe in English. So if you're working in any other language, you're going to need some SRTs, and then you can just chuck that whole folder of SRTs when you're using ScriptStar, and you're done.
So can you
export?
export?
Would you like to see how it works?
1 second. Can you export your
Yeah.
ScriptStar text file, modify it, right? Correct it, and then re-import it as an SRT? Can you do that?
The method for that, if you only had Final Cut Pro, would be to throw this clip on a timeline, make captions with Final Cut Pro's timeline-based captioning, correct them either here or export to SRT and then correct them there. So you can do timeline caption exporting from Final Cut. So then you correct it at some point, rename it for the name of the clip, and then yes, you could use that in ScriptStar. So yes, there is a workflow. But we suspect most people will probably want to batch encode because it's going to be a whole job worth. And there may be some ways in which we could maybe make that happen, but it's a little tricky. And I suspect the limitation of only getting the left channel is a bug that they will just fix. It has been reported, so hopefully we'll see 12.1 fix this soon.
12.0.1, please. Don't give me 12.1. That's a feature update. That's too fast. You can't be doing one 12 and
the numbers did.
Well,
but
the zero.
didn't we?
No, if you just use Logic Pro is 12.0.1 for a bug fix. 12.1 would be a feature update. That's basing it on what Apple's done with Logic. That's what I base it on. That's all.
So let me run you a quick demo. So I'm going to select these events which ScriptStar made and just throw them away. And we'll start again from scratch. So this library is going to be converted. So if you look now, there's no named favorites on these clips. They have been transcribed, but that's all. So the way you use ScriptStar is you bring it up from the Final Cut Pro workflow extension menu, or you just launch it as an app. I think it's probably a little easier as a workflow extension because then it's going to stay in front. So you just need to drag a Final Cut Pro library. So there's instructions here, drag a Final Cut Pro library from the browser to the drop zone. So that icon there, we drop that on. And it exports the library. You can just see a little thing in the background there. Sorry, it's my zooming thing is getting in the way. But yeah, you saw it did a little progress bar in the background. If there's any events you don't want to process, you can get rid of them. So you don't have to do a whole library at once. You may just have one event which you want to process, and maybe the other is a waste of time because it's a B-roll with no speaking. So we want to do all three of these. We say, yep. And at this point, and you can make this bigger if you want to, you can see for which clips a transcript has been made. And this is the point where you can drag some SRT files in. So you can browse for them, but I've got them open already. So here we go. SRTs to replace transcripts. So I'm just going to select all of these. Not all of these are actually in this library, but that's fine. So dropping them there. So it has found 5 files. 2 of them have duration mismatches. And I can see in the list here, this one is the 1240, which is the clip I just showed you before. An SRT has been detected. We say continue with 3 matched SRTs. Good. Processing, and it's going to send it back to Final Cut Pro when it's done. And then we're going to get some more events, which are going to have a star on the end of the name. And then we'll have clips which are all good.
How does it match the SRT? Is it by the name? You have the SRT has the same name as your clip or event?
Yeah, so either clip name or file name will do it.
Okay.
Cool.
No, I really like that
really
like that you put the stars in the browser. That's fantastic. I really like that.
Yeah.
That's worth $10 by itself.
Now, normally I would expect it probably doesn't take this long to process. One thing we have noticed is if you have some really, really big projects, and we have tried this with some really big projects in the past, that you just need to be patient and it will get there. So this is me trying to be patient because I have actually done this library before and it hasn't taken this long. So I wonder if we've hit a rare bug. That'd be fun. Got to love a live demo, yeah? This is why Apple doesn't do live demos anymore. Oh dear. What do you reckon, Chris? You reckon we keep it going, or do you think we've
just close it and try again?
Close and try it again. All right. Let's try that. It has been sitting there a while. Okay.
Okay. Final Cut being weird.
It could be Final Cut being weird. I have done this many, many times, but I have also launched Final Cut and quit Final Cut and have different versions open. So I'm going to just quit Final Cut.
Okay.
Oh, we've lost your audio, Iain.
I think he's back now.
Okay. Right. So I'm blaming Final Cut for that one. Doing something
I will, yeah.
All right. You can still see my screen again. Okay. I'm just going to try something a little different then, because here's a video I made recently promoting my book. And this is actually a video for which it didn't transcribe. So I'm going to try this one because I have got an SRT available for this one. Let's drag that one in. see what it does. Now, the first time you drag in a library for which it's never used before, it may sometimes ask for permissions. You just have to say yes. So I'm just going to go with the book video. Now, it didn't find a transcript in this one, or it thinks it has, but it's actually found a blank transcript. So I'm going to find the folder that I had before, and I just need to match wherever this one is, 0428. So I'm just going to quickly find that. Cool. Here's the SRT. It's matched it. We continue with the matched SRT. This is what we want to see. There we go. So that's what's happened every other time I've ever run ScriptStar. You'll see it has added, but this is the point at which you can export the transcripts to CSV or Word or PDF. So if you want to see this as something you can put in a spreadsheet, then you can save that. If you want it as a Word document, you can do that. If you want it as a PDF, you can do that. And all of those are something you could then send to a client so they can tell you which bits of a clip they want to use. But we can see that this has worked with the SRT. And I can see what I said. And that has worked. The original didn't have anything. And I can tell you the transcript search shows absolutely nothing at all because it didn't detect it. But that's what it does. That's what it's supposed to do. And I think Final Cut Pro was just doing something weird before. So I can try to run another demo and just try to prove to you that it does work.
No, that's okay. We understand. I mean, that's completely the one you just did worked fine. So I guess the where's the best place to correct? You said the best place to correct the captions or the transcript is in Final Cut Pro timeline. With
sorry,
if you want.
Sorry, yeah. The best place to correct the captions, if you're using an SRT file, is just going to be in the text editor. If you were using the Final Cut Pro captions on the main timeline, then that would be the place to correct it would be using the built-in timelines. I know what's happened. My hard drive disconnected. So I'm just unconnecting my hard drive and reconnecting it. So I'm afraid it was a physical problem. The library we're looking at fell off. And I'm pretty certain that's what's happened here. But yeah, I mean, it's not good. I'm blaming this drive, which should be connected and is not.
Yes, I had
the library is.
I had Thunderbolt drives. I have an older one, and it kept just randomly disconnecting. So I just completely took it out of my system. I'm not using it anymore because it was only that one drive. I don't think it's the cable. The cable's actually built in this particular one. But so
yeah, I'm gonna try. My machine has been a little bit odd recently. I'm gonna try plugging it into a different cable. Here it is. Here's the drive. Here's the video. ScriptStar. This is the library I was showing you. So yeah, this is why it fell over. I feel much better now that it's not ScriptStar. Anyway, this is done. I'm going to do this again. I have to just, there we go. It's exporting in the background. You can see that. Not the edits. Let's continue. Okay. SRT files. I'm going to skip the SRT. You've seen that work. There we go. Processing. And this will send it back. There we go. And you'll see these things appearing with stars once it's been retrieved. So there we go. It is quick and easy, as long as you don't have a hardware failure. Mid-demo, my favorite. It's excellent. But yeah, that's fine.
Maybe add that to the update next when you update it is, hey, your hard drive's disconnected, dummy.
Hard drive's disconnected. So yeah, so here's what Jen Jager said in when she was speaking to me on the summit. So it's the last day of the summit, and I was recording the wrong way, so we went again. Not Jen's fault at all. She was excellent. It was the last day of the summit. We had an amazing 3 days, and I can just bring that onto a timeline. It's super easy.
Yes,
really a big fan. You can see everything I said in this promo. It does make it super easy to do cut downs just from finished art. You can look at other videos. This video, for example, this is an hour and a half. And that timeline we just showed you has 3 clips that are ridiculously long. This is 42 minutes, and that's everything that was said in those 42 minutes. So,
Right.
this demo is not short, and it didn't take very long to do it. But this is a video I shot in 1996, which I can now retrieve all the text in. Nobody pause and figure out what was said there. That would be bad. Let's just make sure no one's looking too hard at that. But yeah, it does work, and I can export all of that. I'm going to go to CSV for that, which I just made, and just show you what one of these looks like, because I think this is absolutely the most useful. Now, I really like numbers as a way to do this, but I'll show you the PDF and the Word doc as well. So that's what a PDF looks like. We've formatted it pretty cleanly. So you can see the image, the name of the clip, the name of the file name, the duration, the time code for every single phrase that was said. That was just the simple one that I sent earlier. Here's the far more complicated one with all of the clips and every single thing that was said in that entire library for every clip, every time code. And if you want to give that to your client and they can read the whole thing, then we can find something. And, I recommend doing something like making the fill green. So this is the section that I want to use. Mark it in green. This stuff is terrible. I cannot take any responsibility for anything people might have said on this particular transcript. We're not going to be reading this very closely. But that's the idea. This helps clients become part of the editing process in a really nice, clean way. And it wasn't possible because in Final Cut, you can't export your transcripts. And you can't see your transcripts. Whereas now, any of this stuff, you can just do both.
Now, here's what I wish. I wish we could buy this from the App Store and deduct it from the subscription price of Final Cut Pro. That's what I'd like to see, because they should have had this feature in Final Cut Pro 12. So I'm going to deduct $10 from one of the months.
Well,
that would be fair.
I mean, it's actually the opposite. Apple takes 15% of our money, so.
Well, that's true. That's true. I forgot about it.
There is one more thing I wanted to show you, because look, last year I wrote a book about. It's only just come out last week, but about creative production. So AI for creative production. It doesn't all have to be generative AI. And one of the workflows that I recommend for that is, if you want to do logging, you don't need anyone to log it. All you need to do is get someone to say out loud what you want to find in the edit. And so one thing I've done, in fact, it's on the screen now, Richard, if you want to just throw up my screen share.
Okay, let me get back there. Iain demo. Here we go.
Yeah. There's a few clips here in which I just said what I wanted to have in the edit. So you can say, love this. You can say, use this shot in the intro, or this shot's important, or remember to clear this, and add the cool titles, add stability here. Any kind of note that you want to add, you just say it out loud and you've got it in the edit now. And that's just so helpful. So if there was someone at Chris's live event who can just say, hey, Chris, this shot's great, at the end of the cut, he'll have it. He can search for his own name or the word. You can just say, you can have a code name, super duper excellent. And then when that turns up in the transcript, you know what to search for and you get the thing before that. So handy. So I used that for a project last year, which is why I was so completely on top of where are my transcripts? How do I give them to people? And, I need to see what I'm doing, because I get people to spell their name out on camera. I don't want to listen to that. I want to see it in my transcript. I want to see it right here so I can just type it in. Thanks. So
absolutely.
Yeah, no, super, super helpful.
I think it's worth clarifying because it can be a bit confusing. ScriptStar isn't doing any of that transcription. That's all Final Cut Pro. No. Like ScriptStar's not doing any, there's no whisper behind it or parakeet or anything like that. No. We're relying on Final Cut Pro. Final Cut Pro is doing that all in the browser. So all that transcription data is Apple generated. But if Apple screws up, Like, for example, if you're recording on anything but channel 1, which most people, like a lot of the time, you'll have the boom on channel 1 and lapels on channel 2 and 3 and 4 or whatever, or however you got it set up. Then you can use the SRTs to sort of fix that workflow issue. But yeah, the Scriptstar's not doing any of the actual transcription stuff. It allows you to very easily bring in what Final Cut Pro is doing or what any third-party application via SRTs are doing. And that's the real power of it. And that's why...
Go ahead. The first step is you have to let Final Cut Pro do analyze and fix, and then you do the transcript search. That's the first step you have to do. Then you use Scriptstar.
Yeah, which is on by default in Final Cut Pro 12. Yeah.
Right.
Which is a big
the transcript
deal.
Search, the transcript search is still useful. It's a lot quicker than a visual search. You're really not incurring much of a time or size penalty running that transcript. And once you've got that transcript in there, then Scriptstar can do its thing. If you're working in a foreign language or for some reason the transcriptions aren't good enough, use Mac Whisper or something else, batch them, chuck the SRTs in. It'll use them instead. So foreign language is supported. And you can search through favorites, so that you can search through the output that Scriptstar makes. The only thing about that is at the top of the browser, there's a little menu where it says all clips or favorites. Flick it onto favorites. Otherwise, searchers will find entire clips. If you put it on favorites, you'll find and you put it on favorites, it finds a single line of dialogue. So that's exactly what you want. So
this answer this question, this is related. He says, I read in the App Store something about languages. Does ALS use Dutch? Is it written Scriptstar solves this problem? Does it use Dutch?
You can use anything. Yeah, you just import the SRT. So you could transcribe it using Whisper or any other tool. Or even does the timeline captions work in other languages? Or is that all English as well?
I don't think they do. I think it's all English. Oh, hang on. No, I think it does. But I'm not 100% sure, and I should know this. And apologies to Robin Kerr, so I was speaking about this.
You literally wrote the book on this
recently. I know. Look, we are enabling existing captions to be used. Final Cut Pro won't make transcriptions of source clips natively in anything other than English. So even if you can get timeline captions in another language, and I'm really sorry, I'm not 100% sure on whether that's possible or not. It doesn't really matter anyway. You're going to want a batch solution to do all your dialogue bearing source clips as SRTs. Luckily, there's plenty of solutions out there for that for free or cheap. So use one of those. Then you can edit those if you want to, if you need to, and then throw them at Scriptstar, and we'll take care of the rest.
So this is the question then. Right. Go ahead.
Yeah, Philip and Greg have a captions translator. So you could transcribe it in English and then use their plugin to translate it to captions in Dutch, and then use the export SRT and bring that into Scriptstar.
Yeah, I saw a question pop up on screen there. Does FCP bulk export captions? And no, it doesn't.
So are these SRTs? These SRTs created by Final Cut Pro and Ingest, they don't know. I mean, they don't do SRTs. Final Cut Pro doesn't do SRTs, right? Not for this. No, not for transcript search.
Yeah, by default in Final Cut Pro 12, it will automatically transcribe the browser clips in English, and that's what Scriptstar uses by default if you don't have an SRT.
So where is that transcription information when Final Cut Pro does that?
That is a secret.
Is it inside the app somewhere? I'm saying it must be like an invisible cache or something. It's obviously
inside the
somewhere.
library bundle.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Oh, it's in the library bundle. Okay. Because I saw a discussion this morning about the difference between Final Cut Pro 12 standalone and subscription, and there's multiple things. Obviously, we got titles, generators, transitions that are in the subscription, but I think they're internally to the app, right? They're not in the Motions templates folder. They're somewhere hidden inside the app.
Yeah, I think Iain and I need to do some more digging on that, because I don't actually know that there is. I haven't seen anything that confirms that there's motion templates that are unique to the subscription version. And I don't think...
There are. Just I've seen them, but I just can't see them at the moment. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, and maybe it's because I've got subscription. It's still, you can access them within the perpetual lifetime. Maybe it saves it locally, because I do know it, like on iPad, it downloads the motion templates. They don't come bundled on the App Store version.
But I mean, Apple titles and generators have never been in the Motions template, right? They're internal to the app.
Some,
correct?
Yeah, all of the, yes, correct. All the built-in effects within the bundle. Yeah.
I suspect the subscription is doing the same thing. It's all within the app. The subscription app.
I think the subscription works the same as on iPad. By default, if you download Final Cut Pro for iPad, it doesn't have any built-in effects or generators, that sort of thing, and you download them on demand as you need them. So I think in subscription, that's what the download additional content is, both in the lifetime perpetual and the subscription. There's in the file menu, I can't remember the exact wording, but it's just like download additional content.
Yeah. Download content library.
Yeah, download content library.
Yeah.
But they can't let us use it. They can't let the perpetual license users use them. They have to.
I'm still not sure about that. Surely there would be like documentation or YouTube videos. I haven't seen anything saying categorically these are the things that are missing, and I don't know why that is. You'd think if that's a big selling point.
I've got screenshots of them. I can't run them at the moment, and I think it's because I've been running both versions today. I think that's it.
So in the Final Cut Pro manual, it specifically says new content for subscription, for the subscription version. So that's the titles, generators, and transitions. And they're nice. They're nice. I mean, there's nothing. It's more of the same as what they've done in the past. Maybe a little bit better. Some of the generators look pretty cool. Brett liked them. Brett from Brett FX liked some of the generators better than what was existing in the past. I'm just curious. I presume they're in the app, the subscription app, the Creator Studio app, internally, because you can't just like take them and put them over into the. If they were in the Motions folder, you perhaps could.
We need to do some more digging.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I can't imagine a world where they'd be. I don't know how you can protect a motion template. For example, you can send a. For example, you can send a motion template from iPad. Like there's lots of motion templates that are only on the iPad version that you can send that from iPad to Mac and import it, and they import fine.
Oh, you can?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, where are
all
they?
The motion
where are they
templates.
Where are they located on the iPad version? Where are they in a file somewhere? Like a download file?
Like I said, they download on demand. So yeah, when you're in the interface, by default, there's not that many. I mean, all the music as well is on demand on the iPad. If you want one of the tracks that I can't remember what's the word, like the Magic extendable or music. Iain, help me out here. What's the name of it? You wrote the book of this.
No, I don't. Hang on. I'm looking in. Sorry, hang on. Hang on. Extending the music. Sorry, I was looking inside the Final Cut Pro bundle. I couldn't find the motion templates. Sorry, there's a thing to extend audio.
Yeah, on the iPad, there's music tracks that extend.
Right.
I should, as a disclaimer, say that the book that you're referring to is not about the iPad version. It's about the Mac version. Not to be confused with this other book, which is the new book. Sorry, I should stop trying to do 10 things at once.
No, Iain, are you going to update the book for 12?
Look, that's the plan, and I think there's going to be. It is getting progressively more and more difficult to update the book because we're too big for Amazon. Amazon's kind of knocking back updates because we're at the page limit, and they've recently reduced the page limit. So that's fun. But we should be able to get the next update done soon. It's just been delayed. For anyone who has bought the book and wants to be up to date with the new features, I'd recommend the article I wrote for Pro Video Coalition. And I've got a link to that from my website about the book, fcpefficientediting.com. So that should get you up to date with all the new features if you aren't already up to date. But yeah, we will get there. I'm sorry it's taken a little longer than usual.
So Mr. Triumph says Iain PDF update rather than the Amazon. There's probably some restrictions on, right?
Oh, it's the same. They all get done at once. It's a whole heap of layout work to change anything. And so, yeah, the PDF and the Amazon print version all get updated at the same time from the same source. So, yeah, unfortunately, we can't get the PDF done any quicker. Sorry.
Very cool. So you have anything else about this new app? Anything else? Any other comments about it?
Look, I hope that people are able to change their workflows because of it, because I've changed my workflows based on how I can deal with transcripts now. I was, I've seen what's in Resolve and what's in Premiere, and it is very useful for not every workflow, but some workflows, certainly unscripted, which is what I do more of. And so it's terrific to be able to give a client a transcript and tell them, can you please mark the sentences you like and the ones you don't like and give it back to me? It makes my life so much easier. If I've got a 15-minute interview, I could watch that. I could make calls about what's important, what's not, but the client knows best. The client knows the subject better than I do or ever will. And it's just excellent to be able to get them to give it back to me. And now to be able to see the actual lines they've given with time codes right next to them, and I can just go there and tap E and it's done. That's excellent. I don't have to feel jealous of Premiere editors doing the same thing or Resolve editors doing the same thing.
Well, that's the thing. So when I go and I do text-based editing, prior I use Resolve because it's great. They do the transcription. You just punch in, select a paragraph, drop it, select a paragraph, drop it. Now I can do it in Final Cut Pro. So it's worth $10 just not switching back and forth from Resolve to Final Cut Pro. To me, I can stay in Final Cut Pro rather than going over to and I like Resolve a lot. I can't imagine what's going to happen with NAB this year with Resolve 21, whatever. Even if it's beta, it's going to be blockbusters the way they always are. Now the interesting thing is last year Grant Petty said we are probably going to be charging for an update to Studio. Once again, I have no problem paying $99 or $49, whatever it is, for an upgrade because there's no subscription. I really, really like that. I would have done it for Final Cut Pro over the years. Even every 5 years, it would have been, year 5, $99, year 10, $99, year 15, $99. No problem doing that to support, as long as the money goes to the Final Cut Pro team, not to Tim Cook's couch where he keeps a lot of his change and stuff. As long as it goes to the team.
I think Apple have a unique set of incentives in the industry. And, if people want to keep using Final Cut Pro, they keep buying Macs. So that means they have loyal customers for their nice hardware. And that's worthwhile. And I think that's why Apple's been able to do this unique model, which very few other companies could do. Because I think, obviously, Blackmagic, people will buy their cameras, they'll buy their switchers, their connection gear. It's all nice gear. But you don't have to replace that as often as a computer, probably. And so Blackmagic doesn't stand to gain quite as much from that deal. And so, I don't blame Blackmagic either for charging for an upgrade. They've got the most insane upgrade update schedule in the industry.
Volume.
I don't think I could teach Resolve because you're re-recording your courses every 3 months for the new UI they just introduced.
Right.
No. Oh my goodness, that would just be depressing. It's like, okay, and
you'd be full
big
time.
UI changes like The track header areas have now got this new button in a 0.1 update. It's like, no,
right.
Someone is madness. I couldn't deal with that. So, no, I'll happily use Resolve every now and again. But I mean, an app with a 4,000-page manual, daunting.
Yeah, well, they should divide. Yeah, that is a lot. That absolutely is a lot. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Resolve has and what Final Cut's going to do going forward with feature updates, not bug fix updates. That should be, get them out as soon as you can.
I'm not worried. We're going to keep getting feature updates. I don't think they're going to change that.
No, but I guess I meant since 12 came out on January the 28th, will we get another feature update in 6 months, which has been their schedule kind of for the last couple of years? We got 11 in November 2024. We got 11.1 in March 2024, 11.2 September. So every 6 months recently is a new feature update, whether it's big or not. No, I don't have any problem with that. But the other people have been saying, oh, now we're going to get more features more often because of the subscription. There's no evidence of that anywhere. Nobody said that's what's going to happen. It may happen.
And we didn't get it for iPad. Like, we've already been through this. We didn't get any more iPad updates than we got Mac updates.
That's true.
So
that's very true.
I think Apple will keep bashing along the same way they always have. And it's not a Final Cut Pro specific thing. If you look at Siri, everyone's confused as to why they haven't fixed Siri in the last decade and why they continue. And honestly, my prediction is, and I'll probably be wrong as I'm wrong with a lot of my predictions, is I reckon all this talk about using Google Gemini and stuff, maybe just, I don't know if Apple's ever said this going to use all this stuff. I think they'll eventually come out with their own thing and it'll just be, we never officially said we were doing any of this stuff.
I think, one of the problems Apple has because of the secrecy is that rumors fill the gap, right? And so you get people annoyed at a new rumor saying, oh, this is actually delayed, but it's not delayed from something Apple, hang on. It's usually not delayed from something Apple said they were going to do. There was a delay with the revamping of Siri. That was a legit delay, but mostly that doesn't happen. Normally, it's a second rumor saying, oh, that thing which we told you about in our last rumor prediction, turns out it's not happening until this later update. And then people will freak out at Apple for, oh, it's slipping, blah, blah, blah. This would have never happened under Steve. And it's so tedious and boring to have one rumor coming after another rumor, and it's like, it's not ready yet. It's software. Things slip. I'm not surprised. I do wish some of the updates were faster. I'm really looking forward to smarter Siri arriving eventually. But,
all the updates should be faster.
But they never announced that new Siri was coming specifically in 26.3, and now it's in 26.4, and some people are freaking out. But because then Apple never said it. It was a rumor.
Well, here's the epitome of that, Iain. You mentioned Steve Jobs. Remember when Steve Jobs said, who wants to look at a video on a small screen like this at one of his keynotes for the iPad? And then a year later, they came out with the video iPad. They had video iPod. I had that hit around here somewhere as well. But he said, who wants to watch a video on a small screen like this? Yeah. Misdirection.
Things change and things come back the same. The headlines at the moment are that, you'll be able to put video officially supported in Apple Podcasts. And it's like, well, I had a video podcast on Apple Podcasts 15 years ago and it wasn't successful and I stopped it. So we used to be able to do this. This is not actually that new. Like, we have been able to do this stuff. It's just a particular news thing with monetization and HLS support. They've added stuff, but
the problem is, well, not the problem, but I think YouTube's got to jump on them with videos, and TikTok and whoever else that already has videos out. So typically podcasts were audio only with RSS feeds. Now that this means any YouTube video, people are calling it a podcast. All right, whatever. But here's a question, a comment. I'm very late, but love to see Iain and Chris here. I've loved testing Scriptstar. It's fab. Mitch Harris, you guys know him, I presume?
Yay, Mitch. Yeah, Mitch's friend from London. I'm really glad it's working for you, Mitch. Yay.
We love Mitch. Mitch was, I think he's been every Final Cut Pro Creative Summit, has he?
I don't think so. I think maybe the more recent ones.
No, maybe I didn't go to the original ones, actually. Since I started coming, Mitch started coming, so...
I missed the very first one, which was not in Cupertino. It was 2015 or 2016. It was in somewhere in LA or something. And I was told you had to leave your iPhones on the bus. You could not bring your iPhones in. And that's when they demonstrated the roles, forthcoming roles in Final Cut Pro, and they could not talk about it. So since then, it's not been a problem. You can take your iPhones in, you can take screenshots, you can talk about it on social media. Even if it's not released at the Creative Summit, it's forthcoming and you certainly can talk about it. But the first one was different. I didn't go to that one. Mitch says only 2.
You and I have been to all the same summits. I think, I think you and I have been to the same ones then, Richard. I didn't go to the first one, but I think I was at all the other ones. And they've certainly opened up. It's very, very welcome that, the last summit we were able to, take photos at Apple Park. That's been amazing.
Yes.
And, that's such a big difference from, being in, not that there's anything wrong with this, but being in Infinite Loop, like in the theater where the iPod was launched. I mean, that was cool.
Yes.
But, that was limited photos available there, and to be able to go to Apple Park and take pictures and see lots of cool stuff there, that was great.
Absolutely. Where the heck is my... Oh, there it is there. There's the picture I took last time at the Apple Park. Mm-hmm. It's a magnificent... It's a magnificent building. It's just absolutely phenomenal. How many stories?
I've never seen a building.
Me neither. Absolutely not. And that's a big part of this. Going to the summit is going to that. To the Apple Park. They promised us twice that we didn't get there. I mean, they didn't promise. They mentioned we're going to Apple Park for, I think it was a couple times ago. But the last 2 years we have got to Apple Park. Now, I want to get to Tim Cook's office. I just want to just stop in and say hi. Hopefully, the next time, see if I can.
I did get to eat there last time. That was my claim to fame. I got to try the pizza.
Oh, did you?
Because after the they were doing like Vision Pro demos after the session, and my one was just delayed heaps. So I got to stay at Apple Park for a lot longer than everyone else with a bunch of other people waiting for our demo, and got to eat there, which was kind of cool. The pizza was very good.
Nice.
Yeah.
If anyone else does ever get a chance to do that, I can confirm the coffees are good too.
Well, they have.
I would recommend.
I think everything's good.
Nice coffees made by nice people there.
Every time they do an event there that we've been there, the layout of food is phenomenal. I mean, even when we didn't go to Apple Park, we went to one Infinite Loop, it was always food everywhere. I mean, just really, really good stuff. High quality. So everybody go get this over here at least pre-order it over here at the App Store. Scriptstar, $10. Come on. It's a no-brainer. I mean, I don't care if you use it once a year, it's going to be worth using it. I mean, there's so many, I'm not going to give a script to a client. I'm going to use it myself just for, basically, it's text-based editing. I mean, it is. Since you can open up, and thank you for not doing keywords. That would have been a mess. Just turn down the one arrow on the clip. Everything comes up right there. And it's all favorites. Yeah. You can click on it. It's selected in the browser, drop it in the timeline, and then you can edit from there.
Oh, I will say there are some nice advanced workflows which do use keywords. They're more in the scripted space. They require a little more planning, and I'm sure Nut and Sam will have a workflow which probably does involve keywords, which will be coming out with their app, which is different to this, different purposes. They can coexist. I don't know enough about their app. I know they have had workflows with keywords before that worked really well for them. And but for this, I think, named favorites are the best solution that we could possibly find, short of an entire UI change in which we have text documents.
Do you have
Apple? If you never want to do that, just encourage people to buy ScriptStar. That'd be great. Thanks.
Absolutely. Now, do you have an update already planned? Chris probably does. He probably has some things wrong way.
There's one, we've tried it on some epically massive libraries, and there's some bits where we didn't realize that things would take us long once you've got epically giant libraries. So we need to add some progress wheels. But I don't know. Honestly, it's such a simple idea. All we're doing is exposing the information that Final Cut Pro already has. So I can't think of any new features.
I think it'll be okay for at least for a little while. If you have as much patience as I had before we realized that the hard drive had disconnected. It's just apologies again for anyone watching that. If you wait that long, the biggest of libraries should have done. I mean, I had a multicam project with 2-angle multicams, about 37 interviews, each of them ranging from about 7 to about 15 minutes. And, you're waiting there about 15 seconds. So we need a progress bar. And once we have that, that's the only update I think we need to do. If you're testing it out, if you're doing anything else that is short of, feature film or quite large, you really shouldn't have to wait. I mean, that one that I did earlier where the processing was just a couple of seconds, that has hours and hours of content. There's multi-hour clips in there. So presumably, hopefully it won't be a problem. We're really dealing with edge cases. I guess in the future, if we could do something, to make it easier to get the SRTs, or if we could integrate with some service that Apple have at a system level, then we might consider doing that. But, we'll see.
Well, here's one suggestion. When the screen comes up and it says you want to save an SRT, save the PDF and whatever, let's rather than one at a time. Just select all and then download all at one time. The other thing is, if I'm not mistaken, Final Cut Pro's native transcript search does not work with multicams, correct?
That's true, because the multicams don't get transcribed. So we are definitely sidestepping that and making sure that they do work, because they've got to work, right? With a serious job, you're shooting multiple cameras. Sure. One or more of the angles will have a transcript. And so we run through some logic such that if there's a track with a single audio file on it, like we recognize that that's a way that a lot of multicams are done, with completely separate audio.
Right.
Then that one gets priority. That one gets the transcript. Otherwise, we pick the first video file that has a transcript and we use that, or we use the SRT if that's provided. So one of those three things happens, and it figures out the offsets, puts the transcript, puts the named favorites in the right places. And to me, it had to be done, because it's like, I don't want to be in a situation where I can see a transcript for a clip, but I need to cut with the multicam because I'm not an animal, and it's offset by 15 and a half seconds. And suddenly I'm moving every clip and looking at a transcript that's off. And it's like, no. I want to be able to just click, bang, done. And that should work.
So you're making a educated guess on which track inside a multicam is going to be used. Is that what you're doing?
Well, we have the order, and it's if there's an audio only track in there at all, we'll use that. If otherwise, it's the first video track which has a transcript, or it's the SRT. SRT will trump all if you want to provide one of those.
Okay.
So, But it is transcribing the SRT belongs to the clip inside the multicam. So if that's offset by 10 seconds, it should be offset by 10 seconds. If anyone does find any bugs with any of this stuff, let us know. I really hope there's not. There shouldn't be. I've thrown a bunch of things at it and it hasn't fallen over yet. So except if your hard drive is disconnected for some reason. But yeah, no, it should be fine.
Any final comments? We've been on for 1:45. Not too bad.
No, I'm good.
I guess I have this. Go ahead, Chris. Yep.
Yeah, I guess, tomorrow it will be released. And you'll be able to download it and think. And when I say tomorrow, I mean like mine and Ian's tomorrow.
Right, exactly.
Nearly nighttime. Nearly midnight or late.
Yes.
So it'll get released tomorrow. I'll push out a Command Post update so that if you are a user of Command Post but haven't updated yet and don't have a late note app, Scriptstar could be that late note app to unlock Command Post.
That's very, very reasonable. Very, very cool. So what do you think is going on? When they didn't announce Final Cut Pro Summit in December, like they said they were going to do back in August, they said, we'll have an update in December, and they didn't have it. The end of December, they came out and said, well, we don't have an update for the Creative Summit, but we're going to do these things at NAB. Apple's going to be involved with a Final Cut Pro track at NAB. They've always had a Final Cut Pro track at NAB every year. This might be more concentrated or something, but maybe they had to do that because they didn't have a Final Cut Creative Summit announcement. I don't know. But I'm debating whether to go to NAB this year because of that, depending on what it is. Just to cover it for people.
Well, I suspect these are just separate things. I suspect that the track at NAB was a thing which was also in train alongside the summit. They're on independent timelines and independent schedules with independent decisions being made. So, but I have no insight. I don't know. If I did know, I couldn't say. It's like being on a beta, but who knows? Right.
But I might go to this year. I didn't go last year. It wasn't that interesting to me. I would go for two reasons. Number one is see what this track is and let people know what's going on with that. I just report back about it. And the other thing is to interview Grant Petty again at Blackmagic, because that was great. I got to interview him in 2024, I guess it was. He's so approachable. He's just right there on the Blackmagic floor, and people are talking to him. And I say, "Hey, can I take a selfie with you?" He goes, "Sure." But I don't do selfies. I do 4K video, so I don't do snapshots. I just set up my camera and it's recording 4K video, and he could see it because we were both looking at the screen that was being recorded. But that was really, really cool. So I hope that happens again if I do go. So another question here. You can still use transcription and search in a multicam project, just happens early in the workflow.
Well, that's not good enough.
No, it's not.
No. You have to be able to search in the multicam.
Yes,
so
I agree.
What I would recommend if you want to use transcripts in your multicams, do the transcripts on the original source clips as you normally would, turn them into multicams as you normally would, then use Scriptstar. Job done. That's it. It's really simple, but that's it.
Now tell me this for an improvement for Scriptstar. Let somebody select what track in a multicam they want to use.
The tricky part in that is how do we build in the user interface? And that's a tricky one. I think at the moment, if people have really specific tricky needs and they want a specific track within their multicam to be used, I'll have to double check the logic. I'm pretty sure it's what I've described, but I would recommend putting the clip which has the transcript you want to use higher up in the stack. Or if it's an audio only track, it doesn't matter where it is. It'll be the first one it finds, I think. And of course, if there's an SRT, none of this matters. You can just chuck that in; it'll use that anyway. But
right, and
the SRT
that's matching up
one of
the name.
Clips. One of the clips.
Yeah, that's perfect. Just say put it at the top of the list or whatever, or put it at higher in the list, or like you said, name the SRT the same as name as the clip. That would match it up, correct?
Yeah.
In the moment. Okay. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. It's always going to be the name of the SRT should be the name of one of the clips or one of the file names. Mostly they don't change, but it means that if you want to use the file name to store some notes, you can, because the file name's not going to change, so that'll still work. That's the approach. I think one of the other things you can do is don't transcribe everything. Like if you've got an interview, you've probably got one good audio and one scratch audio. Don't transcribe the scratch audio, maybe.
Right.
That's another easy way to make sure that you're only giving it good audio and that we can't ever be given bad audio. And it's also helpful because you probably don't want to ever see that audio in a search anyway, because it's not helpful. When you transcribe the wrong mic, you get useless search. And, I think one of the reasons why this bug about, the wrong channel being used, or not all channels being used, was simply because we can't see the transcripts. Anyway, the only way to find this bug out without running ScriptStar or digging deep into the guts of a library is to search for words should be in the transcript. And because that's never 100% anyway, you can get a word that sounds alike, or Final Cup Pro is what gets transcribed. And, you search for Final Cup and you just don't find anything. But, it's really not easy to figure out what was going wrong. But now it's easy, and hopefully it'll be fixed.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys. Thank you both for coming on the show and also for doing this great app. Great price point, great app. Let me go put it back up here. Where is it on my what did I call it? MacBook. This is it. ScriptStar. It's coming. You can buy it today. It'll be available tomorrow, and it will qualify you to get a version of Chris's other main app that he uses, that he has. He's been developing for years and years and years, and never charged anything for it until just now. You have to buy one of his other apps in order to get this.
Yeah,
and
that seems fair. I think it's
absolutely fair.
Command post, $10.
Absolutely fair.
$1 a year.
Absolutely fair. Absolutely. Fantastic. Thank you both for coming on. Anything else you want to say in closing?
No. All good. Thanks so much for having us on, Richard. Have a lovely day, and we will go to sleep.
Yeah, well, that's true. I'm just waking up. You guys are going to sleep, so have a good night, sleep, and we'll talk to you again. I'm sure.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Yeah.